What is going on, guys and gals? Brooklyn-bound the Raid Scientist here, and today we're going to walk through the full guide of the new Warlord's Ruin dungeon. We'll cover all the mechanics of each encounter, some tips and strategies to help you out, the secret with the secret chests, and even go over the Shadow of the Mountain quest and the hidden door locations with all of the Hefnd bones. There are timestamps in the description so you can skip to any part you want. So, to launch the dungeon, you'll need to speak with Ikor to grab the In the Shadow of the Mountain quest, and launch the dungeon from the director in the EDZ. As part of this quest, there will be 10 collectible Ahamkara bones hidden behind locked doors throughout the dungeon. These are not required to clear it, but they do progress the quest, which will eventually award some exotics, so it's worth doing. The doors they are hidden behind are locked, and require someone with up to 3 completions of the dungeon to open them. So note you're going to need to run this dungeon multiple times to get them all, or have someone with you who has to open all the doors. When you load in, you'll traverse the cliffs and rocks in the snow and start jumping up until you reach this bridge. Make note of the glowing Screeb who runs from you and drops motes as you damage him. These motes, or tinctures, are also part of the quest, so be sure to grab them. Once you cross this bridge, you'll encounter the first hidden room with a bone. And one other note here is about secret chests in this dungeon. Throughout the entire activity, you're going to come across what looks like secret chests. However, some of them are decoys that will summon a bunch of Screebs and kill you. To make it more confusing, the real chests and the fake chests change each run. So all I can tell you is that before you open any chest, stand and stare at it for a few seconds, and if it pulses with a blue glow, it's fake. If it doesn't, then it's a real chest. The real chests will give you non-powerful rewards that you've already unlocked. Continue on through this dungeon castle-looking area until you reach the first boss, the Broken Knight of Fikrul. You'll want up-close and personal damaging type weapons here. Swords, shotguns, damaging supers, and having something like a tractor cannon is very helpful for a debuff. Start the fight by shooting the boss and start clearing out all the ads. Eventually, you're going to get teleported into a cage that will start rising. To escape the cage, you'll have to find and destroy 3 of the eyes that are near yours. Other people in your fire team will also have eyes around theirs. Only destroying the 3 eyes around your cage will open yours. Make sure you look 360 degrees around and up and down to find them all. If you don't get them all in time, you'll die. When you finally open your cage, be sure to look over at your teammates to help them shoot their eyes if they haven't gotten them out, to let them out before you jump down. As soon as you jump down, you'll notice the boss has summoned these totem-looking things with a circle around them. These are imperative to damaging the boss. If you stand inside the circle next to the totem long enough, you will activate it or claim it. There is an audio cue and it turns a glowing blue color. The more of these you activate or capture, the more time you're going to have to damage the boss. In this fight, I highly recommend splitting your team up and claiming 2 of them, as it will give you significantly more time to damage the boss. After a short period of time, the boss's shield will drop and you can damage him. Use tractor cannon supers and heavy to burst him down. The name's Wish empowerment buff is how long you have to damage him. When it reaches 0, he'll go immune and reset back to the beginning. Clear ads and get ready to get teleported back into the cages again. Keep repeating this process until he falls. He doesn't really have a ton of health, so this one should be over relatively quickly, pending you do claim 2 totems before each damage phase. You only can manage to claim 1 totem, it's okay. You just have to do more damage phases to take him out. Now, once he's down, you'll get teleported into a jail before you can claim your rewards. All 3 players will be in separate cells. 2 of the cells will have a skeleton with some type of white marks or hash marks next to him. One of the skeletons has his right hand pointing to the hash marks, and the other one has his left hand pointing towards the hash marks. This is the key to helping you escape. Around the room, which is visible from all of the jail cells, are 6 little wheels that look like this. Shooting them will start them spinning. If you shoot them once, they'll spin one direction. If you shoot them again, they will stop. And if you shoot them a 3rd time, they'll spin the other direction. The number of hash marks on the sign with the skeleton whose right hand is pointing to them is how many wheels need to spin to the right. And the skeleton whose left hand is pointing to the hash marks tells you how many wheels need to spin to the left. Each person should be able to see at least 2 of the wheels from their cell. So communicate to each other, make sure you have the correct number of wheels spinning left and the correct number of wheels spinning right to match all the hash marks. Remember, there are 6 total. Then, have the player in the middle cell look over and shoot the glowing handle on the wall, and if it's done correctly, it will open your cells to escape. If not, it will reset the wheels and you will have to try again. Once you're out, claim your loot and continue through the dungeon, watching for hidden traps and all types of fun things along the way. There are 4 hidden bone doors in this area before you reach the second boss, all requiring different levels of dispel to open them. The first is right after you jump up through the hole and right after the first trap on the right. The second is in the same area just a little further up once you've gone through the little cave at the end of this hallway, past the traps that are only on one side of the wall. The third, this is near the end of the maze where you jump up and then have to immediately drop back down. Instead of dropping back down, jump across the door and it will be on the other side. And the final one in this area is once you've gone outside and crossed the bridge area with the Chimera shooting you and all the screebs, if you look at the staircase where the abomination was, where you need to go left to continue on through the sewer, there's also a sewer on the right with a hidden door. Then continue on until you finally reach the second boss. This boss, you're going to want some longer range damage options like linear fusion rifles, snipers, regular fusion rifles, etc. You're also going to want a way to boost damage as well using either a Well of Radiance or a bubble. I'd make sure you have at least 2 ways to damage the boss as well, because due to the long damage phase, you will probably run out of heavy ammo and want another option to continue damaging him. I personally like to run Sleeper Stimulant here with a fusion rifle like Cartesian Coordinate, but whatever you want to use is fine. Once prepared, shoot the Blight and start the fight. The Ogre here can push you off the map with his boop attack, so be sure to stay out of his line of sight. When the fight starts, there will be Scorn and Taken all over the place. The Taken will migrate underneath the boss. I would definitely recommend taking out the yellow bar Taken Minotaurs because they will wreck you while you're doing damage if you don't get rid of them. There will also be 6 Ahamkara or Acolyte eyes up above the boss. Clear ads and focus on killing all of these eyes to start the next mechanic. Once all 6 eyes are down, 2 yellow bar Scorn Chieftains will spawn, one on the far left and one on the far right of the map. Also at this time, it will trigger the beginning of a snowstorm shortly after, so be careful of this. These Scorn yellow bars will eventually spawn out those same totems you recognize from the first encounter. They will shoot them out randomly, and they will also spawn one on death. You'll see a countdown timer that will say Imminent Wish. When this timer reaches 0, you can no longer claim or capture the totems and the storm will go away. So, what you need to do is take out the Scorn Chieftains and shelter yourself from the storm by standing next to the torches along the back side of the arena. This will keep your biting cold down. You will freeze to death if you get biting cold times 10. Then, run to the totems and claim them, quickly running back to the torch to reset all of your cold before the Imminent Wish hits 0 seconds. For every Scorn totem you capture, it will spawn 1 flame orb in the middle of the arena where you rallied. You need a total of 4 flame orbs to start the damage phase. But you can repeat the chieftain part multiple times. The fastest way is to get both chieftains, the one on the left and the one on the right, to drop a totem each before you take them down, and then getting a second one from their death. This will give you 4 total in 1 round, but it can be a little bit more tricky and difficult to do. Most teams usually just take out 1 chieftain on the left and right, get 2 totems, which eventually gets you 2 solar orbs, and then just repeat again by killing all the eyes, spawning 2 more chieftains, and repeating. However you end up doing it, you want to spawn 4 orbs in the middle total. Pick these up and then quickly run them out towards the boss to light these 4 fires. The orbs, when not picked up, will stay in their area for an infinite number of time. But once you pick them up, you do have a limited amount of time to dunk them, so keep this in mind. Once the fourth and final solar orb has been dunked and the fire lit, it will immediately start the damage phase, so be ready when picking up the last one so you know where to go. Also, before picking up the last one, take out most of the Acolyte Ahamkara eyes that are in the air above you. They are a pain to deal with during damage phase. Just make sure you leave one of them up so you don't spawn the chieftains. Damage phase works by standing next to the fire to protect you from the storm, and also gives you Name's Wish empowerment buff for a short time. If you get too far from the fire, your buff will go away, making you unable to damage the boss. So you can run out very briefly to damage him, but you have to get back to the fire to do sustained damage. Once Name's empowerment reaches 0, run to the next fire to keep damaging him. You will do this for all 4 fireplaces, so you get a ton of time to do damage. You don't have to follow any particular rotation on the fires, just make sure everyone in your team is going to the same one each time, because once you get near a fire, it activates it. And if you accidentally go to different ones, you'll lose fires, aka have less time to do damage. This boss does have a good amount of health, so expect to take at least 2 phases here, if not 3. After you've used all 4 fires, go back to clear ads and pick up ammo and restart the whole process over again. You can farm ammo if you need by just not killing all of the eyes and starting the chieftain phase, so keep this in mind. Repeat all of the mechanics until the ogre finally falls and you can claim your loot. You'll once again now traverse through halls, snowy cliffs on your way to the final boss. There are 4 more hidden doors across this entire traversal area on the way if you're collecting the bones. The first one is right after the room with all of the fake chests. Once you start heading back outside, there is a hidden cave on the left. The next one is when you finally get outside, you'll take this pathway up to the left to the top of the hill and continue all the way up to this door. The third one in this area is in the giant taken ball area with all the spinning debris. Once you've made it all the way to the end where you can exit up top, directly under that all the way at the bottom is a hidden ledge with a door. Just keep going down until you see it. And the fourth door in this area is after the taken ball area where you clear all these ads. It's in one of the caves behind the sniper raider. Finally, you'll eventually reach the final boss. Damage here is pretty similar to the second boss, with linear fusion, snipers, and fusion rifles being pretty good options. If you have a good heavy machine gun like Retrofit Escapade with 4 times the charm, that does pretty good as well. You'll once again want a few options for damaging the boss, since ammo again can become an issue. Ad clearing weapons with Volt Shot, Incandescent, Explosive Payload are also very good because there are a ton of ads that constantly respawn. The boss will always be far away from you, so long-range damage supers like Golden Gun and Nova Bomb are much better, and Well of Radiance and Bubble is awesome for damage buffs. Shoot the Blight to start the fight and start clearing out all the ads. This boss has a nasty Void Heavy attack that hurts, so be sure to stay back as much as you can and keep out of line of sight. How you approach this fight depends on how quick and how aggressive you want to be. It will take place on multiple floors, and as you take down the boss's health past the gates, he'll teleport higher up. The mechanics are similar to the previous 2 bosses. No surprise there. On each floor, the boss will summon a bunch of eyes around him. Taking out all the eyes will spawn the Scorn Chieftains. If you leave the eyes up, you can farm ads for ammo. He will also spawn blights on the ground you can shoot to remove, but keep in mind they will keep respawning. Once the chieftains spawn again, they will summon totems you can claim. They will spawn one on their death as well. The more totems you claim, the longer the damage phase is when it starts, so you're going to get more time to damage the boss. The most you can claim at one time is 4, which is 2 totems from each chieftain. You have to claim the totems before the imminent wish timer reaches 0. Now, one new mechanic in this fight that can make this a little harder is that during this time you're going to get a debuff called Hex Vengeance with a timer, and if that timer reaches 0, you will die. The only way to remove this debuff is to melee attack one of the 3 special taken wraiths that spawn and are glowing. If you punch one of them, or throw something at them with your melee, you will transfer your hex debuff to them. But be careful, because they can hit you and give it right back. So it's kind of a game of keep away. Melee the wraith and then stay away from them so you don't get debuffed again. Also note there are 3 wraiths and only each one can take 1 debuff. So if your teammate punches one to remove their debuff, you can't punch the same one. What makes this tricky is you have to do this while claiming the totems. There are 2 main strategies people do for doing this. One, you can either stand in the totems to claim them first, waiting to punch the wraiths after you've claimed them, but the timing on this can be kind of tight. Or you can try to lure the wraiths away from the totems and then try to run back quickly and claim them before they despawn. The wraiths will also despawn when the imminent wish timer is at about 4 or 5 seconds. Once the wraiths are down and the totems have been claimed, get ready for damage phase. You'll get Name's Wish Empowerment, and depending on how many totems you claimed, you'll have more time to damage the boss. Scions will also continuously respawn during this time, so be careful. If you take his health down past the little light yellow section on his health bar, he will move up to the next level after damage is over, and you can jump up to follow him and repeat everything again. Remember, if you get low on ammo, you can just slow the fight down by not killing the eyes and just farming Scions. Once you've followed him up all 3 levels and damaged him 3 times, he will go up 1/4 and final level for a bonus damage phase. This is where aggressive play can speed up the fight, because the boss attack and all the eyes he summons can hurt pretty bad up here. However, if you take the eyes out continuously, you can summon some extra time to damage him. Keep shooting the boss and the eyes until the floor becomes fully taken, and you can jump over to another platform and repeat. You get a total of 3 platforms up here to damage him, and once you've used all 3 bonus platforms, he will teleport you back down to the first floor again, and you can keep repeating everything over and over again. You'll do this until his health pool finally reaches the final stand. He'll teleport you to the top of the tower and summon a ton of eyes. This is where you will finish him off. This final stand is not timed. You will have an infinite amount of time to do this, so be sure you take out all of the eyes because they can be very dangerous. Once he's down, you'll finish the dungeon and have a chance at the new exotic rocket sidearm. Also on the ground right next to the final chest is the last set of Ahamkara bones to collect. There are 10 bones in total, and that's it. To finish the Shadow of the Mountain quest, you're going to have to get all of the bones, kill a bunch of those screebs that drop the Dark Ether tinctures, and do a bunch of clears of the dungeon. In all, it should take you about 6 or 7 full runs to finish that quest. And best of luck out there, Guardians. Thanks for watching, and until next time.